that's been going on for 2,000 years.
This.
Hey, what do you think you're doing?
This will express your memory.
I got nothing.
We'll see about that.
Woo! Shit!
All right.
They never get old, man, those clips.
Yeah, man, we're back
That's
up in there, man.
Insane fucking intro when you look at all the films on that. Like Chris was saying in the chat.
Yeah.
Man, that's like a who's who of all the fucking Giallo films we love, man.
I've been wondering about if I need to update it, but I'll probably leave it for a little while.
I think it's superb the way it is, man. Superb.
Cool. Yeah, man, we're back, man. We're gonna be covering some Proto Giallo films, and I guess you could say that they are a couple of them would be one of them would be film noir, definitely, and M is a precursor to film noir as well. But
right,
I think definitely that these films inspired not just Giallo directors, but many directors, man.
Absolutely, yeah. Definitely, you could go as far as to say M may be like a precursor to some of the slasher films. I know it doesn't show any slashing, which we'll come on to, but just the whole, creepiness and that. But these three films are great. I know we say it every week, but man, I think you can actually say that they are like film noirs as well as Proto Giallo, to me anyway.
Yeah.
I think all three qualify, I think.
Right. And they're kind of misleading too, which is great for a mystery film,
these are top, top
I mean, they're misleading when you're watching the film. Not so much M's pretty cut and dry, straight and forward, but there's some but let's see who's in here first, man. We got James Van Dusen. Good evening, everyone. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, man?
Got Texas in here.
Hey, Tex.
Got Chris C in here. What's going on, brother?
What's up, Chris?
Let's see who else is in here. We got hold on. Welcome to the panel of pain.
Hey,
Tex.
Yeah.
Greatest opening to a stream ever. Appreciate you, man.
There you go.
Welcome to the president of the Peter Bart fan club. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Oh, Darren didn't do it, man. He said he's going to do it, but I don't know what the hell's going on. Guess he forgot. Let's see. We got Justin Marino in here. What's happening, man?
What's up, man?
Let's see. Danny Dundada. Hell yeah, man.
Hey, what's up?
Got us a good little crowd in here, man. Appreciate it. Yeah,
some of the regulars. Yeah, definitely.
Hell yeah. And tonight, man, I've been working my ass off, so I didn't have a lot of time to do clips like I've been doing on these three. But
right.
I figure we'll just get into it, man. And on these three films, it's kind of hard, I think.
These don't really play well, the clips, I don't think, because you want to keep an element of mystery as well to them.
Yeah, we can't spoil shit. We're not gonna spoil shit in these three films. And yeah, it's more mood and atmosphere too for the times. They're all three of them are groundbreaking though, I gotta say.
Oh man, all three directors as well are right up there. I don't know, I guess a couple of them get their just rewards, I suppose, but there's certainly one of them that's so friggin' underrated as a director, man. These are like I said earlier, these are top of the tree, I think, in terms of Proto, Giallo we're talking about. I can't really see you getting much higher than these three films, so should be a perfect.
I mean, I'm sure you could mention something that maybe came from the silent era, and think I'm sure there's something, but these three are perfect, to establish blueprints for other directors, Alfred Hitchcock. Alfred Hitchcock definitely took something from one of these films, and Fritz Lang was a big inspiration for Hitchcock. So
without a doubt, like
Yeah.
Hitchcock was, I think, in awe of one of these directors, which we'll mention in a bit. He
Yeah.
certainly, I would say, he probably took a little bit off Robert Siodmak as well.
And
So
Clouzot, for sure.
definitely. So there, when we're mentioning these three films, he's on about it backstage, and Alfred Hitchcock is going to come up quite a bit, and there's a lot of themes as well, like under these films too, with the whole German Nazism and all that's going to be mentioned as well.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, man. Actually, with the Nazis and stuff, it's like what the hell. But
come out in these three films, really. I don't know so much Diabolique. I think it was as well.
Yeah,
if
a
I
little bit.
remember rightly, but certainly there's a heavy presence with these. Yeah,
I know that they all had to flee where they were at because of Nazis.
Yeah.
So that's kind of crazy. But
I
guess I could kind of get into Fritz Lang a little bit, a little background on Fritz Lang.
Yeah.
If you want?
Go for it, man.
So Friedrich Christian Anton Lang, or Fritz, I guess
Fritz to you and me
was his nickname or whatever. But he was a screenwriter, director, producer. He comes from the school of German Expressionism. Known as the Master of Darkness. That was that's what he was known by the British Film Institute, anyway. That's what they classed him as. And I gotta say, he's one of the most influential filmmakers of all time. People like Brian De Palma had to have watched his stuff, I would say, as well.
Oh yeah,
Roman Polanski, big for him too. And I would say Martino, a little bit, maybe.
I think this was regarded as a classic anyway. He's regarded as a classic director. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking all the Giallo directors, Hitchcock, everyone took
Argento,
everyone took a little bit of Fritz Lang,
because this, he's born in Vienna, Austria. I don't know if I need to go that deep, like where he was born and all that, but I will.
No, go for it, man. Go for it.
Okay. He traveled the world though. Like he traveled Europe, Africa and Asia, lived in Paris, studied painting, and then he also studied engineering. So he's pretty fucking smart motherfucker, right?
Yeah.
And then he was arrested for being an illegal enemy alien when he was in, I think he was in Paris when that happened.
Right, so, there was a lot of shit to do with because he was well linked to the fucking Hitler, wasn't he, at one point?
Right.
And the kind of, wasn't it? I was reading that it kind of tarnished the way people look at his kind of career now, even up until now. You know what happened, obviously, with the Jews.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, well, I think you might be thinking of Clouzot because
Okay. Yeah, I think I am. Yeah,
because it's easy to mix this shit up with these three directors.
It is, yeah.
But when we get to Clouzot,
bear with me if that happens.
You're good. You're good. But when we get to Clouzot, there's something interesting about him. But no, Fritz Lang, man, his work spans like 5 decades. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Made banger after banger. I mean, but he had to get the hell out of Germany because the Nazi regime. It was just no bueno, man. He had to get the hell out of there.
Yeah, you can imagine, man. Yeah.
But so he made, what was it? So he was the first to have a rocket launch pad and the countdown clock in a film.
Okay.
He's the first one to do that. Probably one of his most notable films is Metropolis, 1927. Have you ever seen that one?
No, I've heard lots about it.
Okay, yeah,
I know it's had like a remake, didn't it, at one point recently?
So. Yeah, I recommend watching that silent film though. It's not boring at all. It's great.
Okay, yeah,
for 1927 especially. So he came from the silent film era. This is his first sound film though. The one we're about to get into, M, from 1931. And I know a lot of people might be like, oh shit, 1931, let me get the hell out of here. Like, I don't want to hear about that shit, but I'm not from that school of thought, man. It's it's pretty interesting to me to see people in these different time periods, how they interacted, the way they talk, like their manners and shit. I don't know. It's just interesting to me.
I mean, a good film is like whatever decade it's been made in. I've seen films even in the silent era. If they're good, they're good. You can't deny that. And this is surely like one of them as well. He did do one called Scarlet Street, which I've heard a lot about that I want to see.
I do want to see that one too. Yeah.
So maybe it could be a show in the works, like Fritz Lang to come.
Right. So, but there's one thing that's really crazy. So he had a wife. She was a Russian theater actress named Elizabeth Rosenthal, and she was found dead mysteriously from a single gunshot wound from his World War I Browning revolver. And him, Lang and his future wife claimed she killed herself. They were charged, but they were charged with failure to render aid. Basically, while she was dying, they didn't try to get her help or anything. And then, but later on, the charges were dropped. So I thought that was kind of crazy. But
the thing is, everything you've just told me there, if that was in a court of law today, they'd be fucking hung, drawn, and quartered. You can tell obviously nowadays more if it's.
Maybe she killed. Maybe he was messing around with the other woman and she killed herself in the bathtub. I don't know,
but yeah, it seems suspect to me the fact that they didn't even go for aid. So that tells me that there's, we can't get sued anyway. So
who knows what happened?
So long.
To be honest,
no, that sounds really fucking suspect to me.
But we're gonna get into M, I guess now, man, and I'm gonna name a couple of the working titles I thought was kind of interesting. Your Murderer Looks at You, and A City Searches for a Murderer. I don't really care for that one, but Your Murderer Looks at You. But I like M. I think it fits.
Didn't he? So, like, Lang actually put in this advertisement in a newspaper for this film, and he's pretty much stated his next film is going to be called Murder Unto Us, which is Murderer Among Us, which I actually like a lot.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was going to be about this child killer. So yeah, there's 2 or 3 different working titles now.
And this is his first sound film, right?
It is. It is. Yeah, his first sound film.
Yeah. His first talkie, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, this is regarded as his great. I think he regarded this himself as his greatest achievement in film.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I mean, I really do, man. There's like when I'm watching the film, there is a couple pacing things, but then when I finished watching the movie, I couldn't stop thinking about it. And then Then I started processing more shit about the movie, and I was just like, man, that's crazy. Like it's pretty brilliant the way it's done. We're not going to spoil anything on any of these films, man.
No, because I want people to watch these.
Right. But I will read a synopsis right quick if you want.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. A child murderer has raised the panic level high, and the police are working overtime, making life tough on all the underworld to do their regular criminal activities. They decide to catch this psychopath and assign local beggars to keep safe watch over the children. So that's just like a setup synopsis. I'm not going too deep into it, but
yeah. Perfect, man. I will say, like, straight away, I'm going to mention a couple of the cast. So you've got the main, child murderer is Peter Lorre. He plays Hans Beckett. He was
phenomenal job.
Yeah,
I think this is probably his best role.
Yeah, I mean, he's unmistakable. You can see him because he's got these big kind of pop-out eyes, and he's really unique looking.
Yeah.
But he was Hungarian-American actor. He obviously plays a serial killer, and this was his most famous role. He fled Nazi Germany in the 1930s and ended up in Hollywood. He starred in The Maltese Falcon, 41, Casablanca, 42, Arsenic and Old Lace 44. So he had some classics under his kind of belt.
Those are some big films for sure.
Yeah, Casablanca, man, that's
Yeah.
regarded really highly.
Right.
But yeah, like again, that Nazi Germany thing, you know, he fled the Germans in the 30s to go and seek, you know, fortune in Hollywood, and it kind of worked out.
Right.
I could briefly mention a couple of the other characters. So you've got Otto Wernick. He plays Inspector Karl Lohman, sorry. So this again was his best known role. He began acting on the stage in 1909 and kind of transitioned into film during the silent era, progressing on to talkies. He was married to a Jewish woman, which put him in a really sort of precarious position in the Nazi regime at the time. Like I say, this is going to come up as a theme.
Yep.
After the war, he continued acting, but an accident in 1951 stopped him, and then he became a drama teacher and a voiceover artist. So yeah, he got some kind of a colorful kind of, you know, backstory. He did star in the first ever version of Titanic, the German version of it, in 1943.
Damn.
So yeah, there's some good history here, man. And just the last one I'll mention, like on the cast, is Gustav Grundens, who plays Shanker. He's kind of the leader of the criminal world, which we'll come on to a little bit of the plot.
And I can't help but when I watch that, when I seen that character, when I first seen him, the way he looks and everything, like the way he acts, the way he looks, he reminded me of Alex DeLarge from Clockwork Orange.
Oh, okay. I didn't pick up on that, but
like, I could see Kubrick had watched this, maybe got inspiration for that character, you know? I mean,
well, that's funny.
I know he got inspiration from the book as well, but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Do you see it? Do you see it though? The similarity between Alex
I can see it now you mention it. I didn't see it at the time.
Right. The way he's
funny.
real bossy and you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that, because Kubrick again is kind of like he'll come up actually in a couple of these films in terms of that he must have seen at least two of these, I presume.
Oh, but, yeah. I mean, he was a cinephile, man. I mean, he really was. I mean, I don't want to get on Kubrick tangent, you know.
No. I was going to say there's a scene in Diaboliques we'll mention about.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, this guy, so he was a famous German actor in the 20th century. His career spanned decades on stage and film. He was married with controversy, being associated again to the Nazi regime, whom he collaborated with. So he was a big member of the fucking Hitler's, you know, German.
But you got to think about it, man. Put yourself in that position. Like, it was probably in a lot of those situations, the Nazis were like, look, you got to do this or you're dead kind of thing.
Oh,
you know?
I'm not judging
no
one. I completely, I agree with you. Sometimes you've got to do, you almost got like a gun to your head, quite literally. So I'm not judging anyone.
And that's why these guys were fleeing, is what I think. Because like in all three of these films, at least the directors, they're trying to get away from that shit. They're not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. I think with this film as well, there's so many different versions of it out there, you know. The one you probably watched along with me was the 117-minute version.
I watched the Criterion.
The longest one, yeah. And this one was it came out pretty much on April the 27th, 1931. He had his premiere on May the 11th, 1931. But there's a shortened 98-minute version that came out in 1960 under the title M, just M. I think it was like M. Jean, Morda, Sight, the act. But the original negative for that was preserved at the Federal Film Archive in a 96-minute version. But there's a couple more. I won't bore people with everything, but there's at least 3 or 4 versions of this.
Okay.
But the most famously, the one is where Peter Lorre's actually went back and redid fucking scenes for the English. Obviously, he uses English voice as well, which is crazy. So I mean,
I did see where he had to learn, like he learned English.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
reading a little bit about that.
And Fritz Lang had no idea that they went back and done that second version. He was like, so that's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know what his overall thoughts was on that version.
What
but-
about the killer's whistle though? Like that is, it's in the Hall of the Mountain King is what he's whistling. And it's just like so memorable, like, and creepy and disturbing. And you know what I mean? Like,
Well, yeah, absolutely. Which
so-
brings us on, like, go on.
I was just going to say, like, so you've seen that one little clip I put at the very end of this intro where you see the little
Yeah.
girl playing with the ball.
Yeah.
So when I first seen that, and then I seen the ball rolling, like he gets this girl, he's saying that she has a pretty ball. He takes her and gets her a damn balloon or whatever. And then you see that ball. It reminded me of Kill Baby Kill from Mario Baba. And
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
and then you could go back to like the Changeling too with the ball, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm thinking that maybe all that came from this film,
Peter Madax, sure, yeah, bound to have seen this film.
Right.
That opening scene as well, like so you've got like the film opens up and it's staged in Berlin. There's a group of children, they're playing this really weird game where they start. Yeah.
I saw her die, or who saw
I
her
was
die?
gonna say exactly the same.
Yeah.
I got it written
Okay.
down exactly the same.
Sorry,
So
man.
no, man, no, I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who's seen it, really. But
Yeah.
they're playing this game and they're like kind of, what children are like. They're mentioning this child killer,
It's
in
pretty
kind
creepy.
of these rhymes.
And that's
It fucking is, man. It's
so that
really
comes
creepy.
right out the gate, right? That goes on to what I was going to say, that the reason Fritz Lang made the movie was he was trying to warn mothers to not neglect their children. That was the whole
Right.
point that was the whole reason he made the film. And he got a lot of shit over this movie. Like people were sending him threatening letters. They were sending death threats by mail because, I mean, it involves a child murder and
The subject matter, yeah.
yeah, 1931. I mean, they're like, I could have just imagined how that shit would be. But
It's so kind of heart-wrenching, that opening scene as well. So you've got the mother and she's waiting for the young girl to come home from school.
yeah,
Yeah, man. I've being a father, obviously, I can't see how you wouldn't be touched by that.
but you see that scene though when them kids they're singing that creepy ass song about this child murderer because
Yeah.
there's a child murderer on the loose, and these parents still really aren't, protecting their children like they should,
Right, and again,
like they're not
it's
even paying attention to what the kids are singing.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
they're singing this creepy ass song. Like what the hell?
I think the one mother, she tells him to shut up. She doesn't want to hear that song anymore. But
Oh yeah. Yeah.
but you've got to put it into context. This is back in the early 30s, so child killers and that were not like they are now, as popular as they are nowadays. This
Right.
was like really people. They used to have their fucking back doors open, their windows open. People didn't really give a
And I'm
shit.
guessing
back
that
then.
this might have been one of the first serial killer films, period. Right?
It has to be. I think there was one I was reading up called Suspense that was made in 1915, and it's a short 11-minute, I think. And to
It was
me,
silent.
it's
Yeah.
it's like a proto slasher film, but it is a silent. This, in terms of talkies, has to be probably the first. Yeah.
Right. But yeah, man, this was his magnum opus. Is considered
Yeah.
his greatest, most important film of all time. From his, well, you said that already. Sorry, man. Like,
No,
but,
go for it, man.
but it's definitely a blueprint for crime and thriller cinema, which I can't say it enough. Producer, I can mention the producer Seymour Nabenzal. He did like 46 films. He founded Nero Film in 1926. One of the most important producers of the transition period from silent to sound in Germany.
Okay, yeah.
He was forced into exile, fleeing the Nazi regime.
There you
So,
go.
like,
That's gonna come up a lot.
yeah. So he went to Paris and he worked with his cousin Robert Siodmak. So
Right, there's a nice little
yeah, so
connection to the next one.
it's going to the next film, like when we get to it. But I mean, and Roger Ebert said that the lack of dialogue it put a lot of people off when the film came out. Like
Okay,
because
yeah,
all these talkie films, people were over talking, right?
yeah,
They
yeah,
were over talking because they could, and they didn't really know. I mean, it's a new thing, right? From the
right.
silent era of film. So they Roger Ebert was saying that Fritz Lang did it perfectly. He still made his film the way he wanted to make it. Like he didn't like there's not a ton of dialogue, but when it is, it's important. You know what I mean? Like
Right, yeah, yeah.
so and it's the heart of the film, is what he said. Also the characters are more than likely Lang was expressing his hatred of everyone around him. Like
Okay,
the
yeah.
Nazis and shit. He hated Nazism in Germany and Germany for allowing the Nazis to do what they're doing. And but yeah, man. Yeah, I got most of my stuff covered. But
That's okay.
yeah.
So Fritz Lang went kind of he did like 8 days in like a psychiatric
Oh yeah. Yeah.
kind of ward just to do research for this film.
Yeah,
And
he was hanging out with child murderers and
he was,
interviewing them.
a
Yeah.
very notable child murderer of the time was called Peter Curtin. And he was known as the vampire of Dusseldorf and the Dusseldorf monster. And he's kind of sort of, what this character is based on. He was committed a series of murders and sexual assaults in 1929. He confessed to the murder of a 9-year-old girl and attempted murder of a 13-year-old girl as well.
Oh,
This guy was like,
right.
infamous at the time, I guess, because not a lot was known about serial killers, serial murders, child killers at at this moment in time in the early 30s.
Right.
But yeah, that's so you went kind of, undercover to talk to them, interview them. And he like the way he portrays that killer is superb. For me, they're the best parts of the film. All the creepy shit with the kids and all
Yeah.
that. I mean, it does go on a little bit, I think, too long at times. I think there's a big thing where everyone in the city's trying to catch this killer.
Everybody's freaking out. So
yeah,
and
political
the politicians are worried about their place,
right?
their status. What's going to happen if they don't catch this guy fast enough? They're worried about if they're going to be reelected, type of shit. Then you got police working overtime, working their ass to death, like working double shifts. Then you got the criminal world. They can't do what they want to do because there's fucking police everywhere. So
exactly, yeah.
They take it into their own hands, kind of deal. They're going to try to find this guy.
They even get all the beggars in the city to try and follow, every kid to see what's going on.
Right.
A lot of the criminals in the film were actually real. They're all extras. I think there was 25 arrests during filming where all these, extras were, I presume, fucking pinching and all kinds of petty shit going on. But that kind of gives it a realistic feel as well, with the cast is superb, it's like I say, it's just a little bit overlong in the middle section for me. I could have done more of the creepy shit, with the killer. I could have done with a little bit more. But
yeah, I think it's pretty realistic though. Like as far as the way, because it's very creepy, man. When he's writing that letter to the police, and he's writing it in crayon, right? It's fucking weird. Like,
I mean, you could go forward with that to the Zodiac, write into newspapers and taunt in the fucking, the police and everything. Yeah.
And it's like, so they mentioned it in the film too, that this was like, they got this new technology and it was to be able to identify dust for fingerprints. Like, so this is 1931, right? So, but
fucking crazy, man.
I can mention some of the underlying themes of the film that I kind of picked up on. it kind of talks about how society deals with evil, um, the way society labels people, especially outsiders or those that are different. Um, the line between justice and revenge, and whether they're really that different. You know, like
Right.
uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, I'd say the dark side of the criminal underworld, uh, and oddly enough, community coming together in the most tragic of times. It's like fucking,
Right.
uh,
Yeah.
even though they're criminals, like they're all bandit, they're all like putting all their shit aside to get this guy. Um, and I'd also say the psychiatric treatment isn't working. I think that's kind of what Fritz Lang was kind of saying too, um, because
Okay. Yeah.
a lot of these criminals back then, especially, they would throw them in a psychiatric ward if they pled insanity, and then they would just let them out after they said they were cured, right?
Right. Yeah. That
And
happens a lot.
and I'd also say the dangers of drug addiction, because it don't really show it, does it? It don't really show him doing drugs, but it looks like he's on drugs whenever, at certain points of the film, you know.
No, yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, like I mentioned, there's some real creepy shit when he's got the girl and they go to like this balloon vendor, this blind man. And then because we're not going to give anything away, but there's a scene I like where he's taking this little girl into this shop. And I
Mhm.
mean, you got people trying to follow him. I won't go too much into that. There's a
Yeah,
great kind of moral question at the end of the film, which I won't say what it is, but
definitely.
it's superb.
It is.
Yeah. It's
This is
I'd watch it just
I
for
mean,
that alone.
and then also you also got the blind man trope, where the blind man knows more than it. Like you've seen that in all these other giallo, right? These gialli,
Yeah.
the blind man's a lot of times knows more than everybody else. Like, or he could pick up on certain things,
Well, it's like what you mentioned earlier with the music cues. So we
Yeah,
know when the killer is nearby because you can hear this whistle.
the
And
whistle.
that happens a lot in the Giallo films, but
Yep,
they've got their own
yep,
theme where
right.
they've got their own music themselves. But
Yep.
yeah, it's unmistakably influential to the Giallo genre.
So this was that film. The Nazis approached Fritz Lang because the working title, or the title that was going to come out, he wasn't sure. He changed the title during the making of the film. I know that.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
you mentioned that title a minute ago. What is it? A Murderer Among Us.
A Murderer
The
Among Us.
Nazis
Yeah.
the Nazis didn't know, but they assumed that the film was about them. So they come
Okay. Yeah.
they come and shook him down and shit, basically. It was like making sure that it wasn't about that he wasn't making a film about the Nazis and shit.
Maybe
So,
that's why he changed the title then.
yeah.
Hey Jude, does the title M work for you? Because
Oh
in
yeah,
context with the film, with that one scene, not going to give it away.
definitely.
It's superb. Yeah, it's superb.
It's great.
Yeah.
Great, man. And now that happened at Stocken Studio in Germany, where the Nazis came
Okay.
up. Could you imagine just a bunch of Nazis just coming to the studio? It's like, hey, what the hell
I
is this movie
mean,
about?
they'd be
You know?
like, "You gonna change your film?" You'd be like, "Yeah." You'd be fucking agreeing to everything they say,
Right.
literally.
But yeah, a great film, man. It's a 10 out of 10 for me, for sure.
Oh, it's not that high for me, but
Right.
I know, like Dirk was mentioning, I'm not sure if he's mentioned it before we come on air, but this film, when you first see it, this sticks with you. And I think I'm gonna go and give the other version, like the English version, a watch because it's a little bit short. I think that's gonna play better for me. But
Okay.
man, it's still it's still a masterpiece, a minor masterpiece, I would say. But
And there's
um,
something else, but I can't say what it is. And it's killing me because I don't want to spoil the film because I know a lot of people probably hadn't seen this,
yeah, I mean,
And
I don't think a lot of people would have seen all
I'm
three
not
of
gonna
these.
spoil
So
it, but it's fucking great. It's amazing.
yeah, it's the more I think about it, it's kind of like a 6.5, a 7. But I mean, I'm open to this going up to like a 9 at some point because I
Yeah.
just on one viewing you
I
can only
I
do
just
so
take it
much.
into account the groundbreaking, there'd been nothing like this ever. before, and the time 1931, you're making this crazy controversial ass. I mean, it took balls to make this movie. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. That's probably why it's so high for me.
The kind of opening scenes as well, like you said, Aldo Lado, who saw her die. There's the one scene where his daughter goes missing, and fuck me, man, it's unmistakably from this film. You can't. There's no denying it. This did go on.
You could look. You could probably watch so many films that are in a similar tone and still see things from this film. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, in terms of influential, this is probably one of the most, like, more so than Psycho in a way. Like, it really is. This did go on to get like a Hollywood remake in 1951, but they changed the setting of Berlin to LA. Lang had no interest in it at all. He didn't want really, you know, he was, I think he was asked at one point to do it and he said no. Director Joseph Losey directed it, obviously, and starred David Wayne. Lang said when it was released, the remake, he said, of course, then the original film was getting all good reviews again, because apparently it was so bad it made, you know, people went back, watched the original and liked it. You know how it goes. It goes like that today sometimes. Right. But no question, this is a great film. You know, I'm just gonna. I didn't even dive in as much as I wanted to the extras on this, but this is the one to get. This has got 3 discs.
Okay.
It's got
that's the Criterion.
It's Eureka.
Okay.
And this was fairly cheap as well. You've got the book, thick booklet, lovely, you know, images and.
I don't have the Criterion. I'll probably grab the Criterion next sale, but I watched this on Plex, and it's on YouTube as well. I did see that.
Okay. It looks great. It looks great on Blu-ray. I will say that.
That Criterion
a lot of black and white films do.
Yeah, that Criterion transfer on Plex was just fine. So I will be grabbing that Criterion. I hate that I didn't have it, but it is what it is. But
I think you'll be interested in the commentary tracks as well. There's a couple on there. I think
definitely.
Yeah, the one's got Fritz Lang, I'm sure, like where he was interviewed or something, maybe like embedded into it or whatever. They've done it.
Yeah, I'll be all over it. Yeah. Oh, let me catch the chat, man.
Yeah.
Right quick. Chris C says the tough ones. Hell yeah. Yeah, we're pretty far behind. Sorry. Let's see. He was such a damn good actor. Tragic.
Oh, is he on about Peter Lorre? Is he?
I guess probably so. Just got a proto slasher in Fright.
Yeah, that's Halloween style babysitter in peril type film.
And Justin Marino is saying the Panel of Pain. Hell yeah, man.
Hell yeah.
Film noirs are very Giallo-like. Yeah, definitely.
Especially these 3.
Hear you, Dirk. Been working like a dog myself. Yeah, man. It's crazy right now for me, man. Like it's like a life change things happening with me right now. It's insane. But let's see. Texas says, Darren, quick question. Did you ever go to the Scala Cinema?
So Tex is on about a very well-known cinema in London. At the time, back in the 90s, I believe, and maybe the 80s, it used to play a lot of like old Argento and kind of all the classics, Kubrick and all that. I didn't text to answer the question, but I was aware of it. And I was like walk past it. You know, I've been to London quite a few times. Yeah. I never got the chance to watch maybe like an Argento or something in there, which I would have loved.
Oh man.
Yeah. There's a documentary on that cinema right at the moment, if people want to check that out.
Okay.
It's pretty good, yeah.
Chris says, any of you seen Hitchcock's Rebecca? Criterion brought it out based on the book. I haven't seen it, no.
It's one I've always wanted to see.
Okay.
And another film I was looking at, like all these film noirs. Have you heard of one called Laura, Dirk?
I've heard, maybe.
Yeah, it's another one based off a book, supposed to be really good. So,
okay, Chris is saying, like with Polanski, his parent was in the camps. Okay.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
Yeah, Polanski is Polish, right? I believe. Let's see, Nosferatu 1922 is a great silent horror, maybe the best. Yeah, It's great. I wouldn't
I
say the
still need to
best.
see it, man.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, there's so many. Let's see. JB said, just another great stream, subjective perspective. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.
Hey, man.
And I didn't mean to cut you short earlier either. I was just trying to prepare for this.
No, man, that's fine.
I was talking to JB. I was letting
Oh,
JB know.
okay, sorry.
Yeah, because he messaged me earlier about the Houses of Doom set.
Oh,
But,
that's the guy. Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. Acres of Movies, hello and thanks. What's going on, Stacy?
Hey, what's up?
Let's see. Do you fancy the Mr. Moto movies, which starred Laurie? I'm not familiar with those.
I was looking up a little bit, like maybe,
Okay.
yeah, I wouldn't mind at one point maybe watching them and having a, seeing what I like.
Okay. Acres saying, my driver is preparing and resting for a huge driving assignment. I've prepared a 42-state itinerary for the driver. I will be transported in the main carriage vehicle. It will be convenient and safe. Okay.
Holy shit.
Crazy. 42
Yeah.
state. Holy shit. Let's see. Chris says there's a book called Ordinary Men. Talks about the re-education of young men into the Gestapo. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Acres likely start in mid-March so they can prepare for the next couple of weeks. Excited to make some large transactions, acquire new assets and properties, and will enjoy that. Then, when done, my new estate. Awesome.
That
Sounds
sounds killer. Yeah. Yeah.
You got Stretch Burno. What up? What's going on, man?
Hey, what's up?
Hell yeah. It's good to have everybody in here, man. I appreciate everybody coming by and hanging out. Let's see. Acres saying we'll have completed its refurbishment and the garden terrace and a new indoor cinema will be ready for the summer. Killer.
Wow. You'll have to send some photos or something. Let us know what it looks like.
Definitely. Acres of Movies says, great program. Thanks, Dirk and Darren. I appreciate you. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, man, for coming in.
Acres of Movies, hello and thanks. Have you seen the Peter Madoc film Romeo is Bleeding? Gary Oldman, Roy Scheider, Lena Olin, Annabella Sciorra, and Juliette Lewis.
I've not seen that one, but it sounds like interesting just for the cast alone. I like Madoc as well. I've only seen
Gary
a couple
Oldman,
of Madoc films.
Yeah, that's a pretty good cast. I haven't seen it though. James says I've seen Romero is Bleeding. Great Gary Oldman film. Okay, cool.
There you go, man.
Hell yeah. Love the Iron Maiden shirt, Dirt. Appreciate you. Yeah, I mean it's my favorite band of all time. I don't know. It's kind of don't really go with this. Well, I guess it does because Can I Play with Madness? There's fucking madness in all three of these films. So
oh man, I remember that when it first came out. I bought the 12-inch of that and I was playing it like all the time.
Hell yeah. Let's see. Acres of Movies, terrific movie, very powerful movie. Thank you for your coverage. Yeah, I hope we're doing it justice. I mean, I don't want to spoil the film for nobody that hadn't seen it. So tonight we can't spoil nothing tonight.
No, these three are so powerful. Yeah. Some of the twists and turns, like there's no way we're gonna spoil people's enjoyment.
Who Saw Her Die is a great film from Lotto, a director no one talks about enough. Yeah.
He's in my top 10. He's in my top, just for 3 films alone. He's in my top 10.
Oh, cool. It's on Plex. Yeah, definitely is. It's also on YouTube. Plex might have the better transfer, though, I think. Scratch Burno says Severin put out a Scala doc not too long ago.
That's the one, yeah. That's the one that I mentioned. Yeah.
Awesome. You guys see Arrow is going to release House with Laughing Windows. Yes.
I pretty
absolutely
much
stoked about it.
I shit myself when I read that.
Yeah.
I literally, I think I messaged a few people.
Well, you let me know about it because I mean I stay so damn busy, man. I can't. I found out from you first.
It was on Dawn of the Discs,
right?
And they always come out first, don't they? With everything.
Right.
Yeah, man. That's. I don't think that's going to be beat as the kind of fucking release of the year for me because I know how good Arrow are, and I know they'll go all out and they'll have commentaries and essays and all that kind of shit. So
right.
Can't wait.
Yeah, man, that's gonna be great. The Blu-ray, I mean, I got the DVD. It's fine, but that's gonna be a significant upgrade, big time.
Oh man, I just hope they fucking go with Troy Howard for to maybe do the commentary.
Right.
I hope so, but I don't know if he works too much with Arrow, Troy, but
Yeah.
I'd love to see him do that, man.
Texas says, I bought that documentary. It's amazing. One of the best I've ever seen. I used to go to a similar cinema in San Francisco called the Strand. We got a Strand here in Shreveport. It's kind of crazy.
I think
Not
Dead
very
Pit's
big.
famously got a Strand as well by them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm sure the Strand's probably all over the states. There's different ones. Let's see. I'm watching Burial Ground in the background and watching you guys. Awesome. Hell yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, never watched enough Burial Ground. That's for sure.
Oh man, I could pull that on at any given
Burial Ground's
moment.
great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just got Tombs of the Blonde Dead in as well. Hell yeah. Shit yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing that again. That
Mm-hmm.
series at one point.
Let's see. Acres of Movies, Defoe for the Laurie role in a remake. I could see that, actually.
Well, they did do a remake in 51, which wasn't good apparently, but I could see them redoing the film, like an up-to-date version. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Don't Torture a Duckling might be my release of 2025.
Oh yeah, that's coming.
I got that coming too, the pre-order. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I don't think it's gonna quite beat The House of Laughing Windows, just for the fact that it's not been out properly before. So
well, yeah,
but
because
it's up there. It's my favorite Fulci anyway. Don't Torture. So
it's in my top 3. But anyway, I guess we're gonna get into Spiral Staircase, 1946. Man, I got a synopsis. I'll go ahead and kick it off with that.
Yeah.
If you go with that. Sorry on the clips, y'all know I've been doing that, but not tonight. For anybody that just came in or whatever.
I've only got the DVD of this one.
Right. And I was looking that up, and the Blu-ray, shit, man, it was high. Like, I think I found one.
Fucking missed out on it, honestly.
Yeah. I missed out too. I should have got it when Kino had it, but
they were selling it on sale for $10, I think it was at one point.
Now somebody's selling it for like 115 or some shit. But
I'm thinking this has to come out. This would be a Navarro Blu-ray.
Yeah, it'll be a 4K. It has to be.
Yeah, 4K. Yeah.
It's got a Blu-ray, so we need a 4K for it. So.
It's got like a Kino. Yeah.
All right, so this is set in 1906 Vermont. There is a serial killer out on the loose, and his victims are all women with some type of disability. Helen, a mute woman who helps a wealthy elderly woman named Mrs. Warren, is in fear for her life even more when Miss Warren constantly tells her to leave this house, that she's in danger.
Yeah, man, this is one I think people will like, if they've been following the channel, will know that we kind of touched upon in one of our other streams going back like a year or so ago. But I was on to Dirk to get to watch this for so long. This is without doubt like one of my top 20 films of all time. So it's going to tell you how much I love this film.
I can't be saying that kind of stuff, man, anymore.
Yeah,
because
it really is.
I mean, it's so tough for me to say anything like that remotely, because I mean, there's so many films I need to see. I guess out of the films I've seen, it's got to be in the top 100 though, for sure.
Yeah, I think this is this is a fucking blueprint of what a slasher film should be, man. It's got
Blood and Black Lace vibes, huge. Right out the gate. Right out the gate, Blood and Black Lace.
There's the kind of Black Christmas vibe as well with the one scene.
It's not just one scene. So
there's a few, yeah.
Going back on a rewatch, so Black Christmas and this film are similar in a couple different parts, right?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so you know, like the house mother in Black Christmas.
Yeah.
You know how she likes to drink and get drunk and shit.
Yeah.
Well, the servant woman is that's all she's worried about too.
There's kind of some comedic value to her character as well.
Right. But
and of course, you know that was as well the woman who played that part was Elsa Lanchester, who played the Bride of Frankenstein.
Yes.
Yeah. And she actually played Mary Shelley as well in the film.
She put on some weight though, right?
She did. I
Yep.
didn't recognize it until I was
Yeah.
going through, and then I started, to realize. I thought, yeah, that face is so unmistakable.
Yeah. This is based on the novel "Some Must Watch" by Ethelena White. Wrote that, and the first film adaptation that she ever wrote was for Alfred Hitchcock. The Lady Vanishes.
Yeah, that's another tie-in. Yeah,
from her novel The Wheel Spins, or Midnight House, or Her Heart is in Her Throat.
right.
Was adapted for the movie The Unseen, directed by Lewis Allen, who did The Uninvited in 1944.
That's another great film.
It
Tons
is
of atmosphere.
great.
Yeah.
High recommend for The Uninvited for sure.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
I'm just kind of going through a few things, y'all. Sorry.
That's okay, man.
The cinematographer's Nicholas Surica. He's mostly did stuff for RKO Productions and for Val Lewton's B movie. Val Lewton did a lot of horror movies, but the two that I recognized was The Cat People from 1942 and The Curse of the Cat People from 1944. So,
wasn't George Brent in the Cat People as well? I think he plays Professor Warren in this.
Okay. The music is by Roy Webb. Did hundreds of film credits, mostly film noir and horror. I Walked with a Zombie, 1943, and The Leopard Man in 1943 as well. So,
oh man, have you seen The Leopard Man, Dirk?
No, I still haven't, man.
You've seen that. You've obviously seen that one scene they show in like 100 Greatest Moments where she's being stalked and she goes running up to the house, and then this fucking something gets her and starts ripping her apart, and she's screaming.
Yeah,
man,
I think so.
That's a great one. Yeah.
Right. But yeah, if you want to get into some of the characters, man.
Right.
Cool.
So 3 of these characters, like the main characters, I was going to write the paper. There's a few more as well if we go through like a little bit of the film. But so you've got Dorothy McGuire. She plays Helen, the mute girl. She had a long career from the 1940s right up until the 1990s. She was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actress in her role in Gentleman's Agreement in 1947. She won the National Board of Review Award for Best Actress in the 1956 film Friendly Persuasion. She also starred in a couple of films, Old Yeller and Swiss Family.
Shit. I haven't seen Old Yeller in so damn long, so it's like
she kind of was known for playing the motherly role as well, but because in this she's kind of a glamorous, very beautiful actress back in the day. But I'll just mention a couple of the others. So you got George Brent, who plays Professor Warren. He was actually born in Ireland, County Galway, in 1904. Started his career on stage before moving to the US. He's well known for starring in 11 films with Bette Davis. He was kind of a womanizer. He got married 5 times. He even had an affair with Bette Davis at one point. And he was in quite a few. He was in Dark Victory, 42nd Street, The Painted Veil. So they wanted him at one point to be the next Clark Gable, but he hasn't quite got the charisma of Clark Gable. But in terms of what he does in this film alone, I think is superb. I'll just briefly mention Ethel Barrymore as well, that plays the old woman.
You got to mention her because she was nominated for an Oscar for this role.
Yeah, she didn't she actually? She won an Oscar at one point.
Oh, she won? Okay.
Yeah, she won an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress.
Okay.
In None But the Lonely Heart in 1944.
Okay, so she didn't win for this film though, right?
No, not for this one. No,
that's what I'm saying. She was nominated in this film though, I
thought. Yeah, maybe. I haven't got it down here, but maybe.
Okay.
But she was well known. She came from a family of actors.
Right.
Her brothers, her mum and dad. She's even related to the great Drew Barrymore. I think she might be the great grandmother of Drew Barrymore as well.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, and I mean,
Crazy.
if you see her face, she's fucking super. She's flawless in this film.
She really is,
Just
dude.
through like
She's the
her
best.
expressions in her
Yeah,
face, and
she's the best
yeah,
actress in the film, actor, whatever you want to say. She does the best job, best performance, hands down. I agree.
carries the film. I will say. I don't think there's a bad performance in that
No,
though.
there's not, and that's saying
Even
something because all the
yeah,
other
yeah.
yeah.
Go on, sorry, Dirk, go on.
I'm just saying that's saying something because all the other performances. I mean, it's brilliant, man. The way it's done.
It really is. Yeah, yeah,
I can kind of touch on Robert Siodmak if you want a little
yeah.
bit.
Go for it. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So his biggest film was The Killers in 1946, and that was Burt Lancaster's debut film, and it was also Ava Gardner's first like drama film or whatever. But like that's his biggest film, like out of his whole filmography or whatever.
Yeah.
He's known for film noir and thrillers. He was born in Dresden, Germany. His brother Kurt Siodmak wrote the 1941 wrote the screenplay for The Wolfman, 1941.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and he started out as a banker and a stage director, and then an editor. So he kind of, I guess he worked his way up to where he got. And
Right.
I
Yeah.
think he was also a writer. He left for Paris with the rise of the Nazi regime.
There you go. Yeah.
Once again, running theme tonight. Stayed there for 6 years, working in many different genres of film, comedy, drama. Did a lot of musicals until Hitler forced him to go to California in 1939. So the Nazis had made it into Paris at that point and
Yeah.
pushed him to California. So then he stayed in California after that, where he made 23 films, mostly thrillers and crime melodramas or film noir, whichever you prefer. But
Right. And like Dirk said, he started at the lowest end of the run. You know, he was his first few films he even directed were kind of had no money behind them or anything. And he literally did work his way up into something like this, which I'll just flat out say is a fucking masterpiece in my eyes of its
definitely
time.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
if you're a slasher fan, oh go on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can yes, I can see slasher fans, but also just the mystery element to this film. I don't think you would figure this one out because it's done so well. Like they got, you know what I mean? Like
oh god, yeah. I mean,
you don't know who. Like the doctor's a little funny. The damn working guy, the guy that's working at the house, Mr. Oates.
Yeah,
he's kind of suspect. So there's a lot of red herrings in this one.
Absolutely, yeah. But I could kind of, in terms of the director that you mentioned, there's a kind of an undercurrent of two brothers kind of rivalry in this film. And I think that was him and his brother Kurt in real life. They were like obviously big to do with all these films and producer and all that.
Right.
I do want to go just a little bit into the first couple of scenes just to set the film up, if that's okay. So the opening, we see this great like overhead shot of a spiral staircase, and there's like this big storm going on outside, and you've got this woman pretty much, you know, on this spiral staircase. The way that is shot, man, when you've got the credits coming down as well, is just superb. We got Helen, who's this mute woman, and she's sat and she's watching a silent film back in the old days, because this is like set in 1906. You even got the guy doing the hand shaft with the film. This is at a time where they used to do the music themselves there while they were in the theater.
Right.
But just to see all that is superb.
I definitely got the first kill of the film. So the killer's,
I was gonna say, yeah.
Okay, the killer's in a closet, and it shares. You know, there's a closet kill in Black Christmas.
Right. Yeah.
So it shares that because, you know, that's how the first kill goes. But then, and I know it's not the same exactly, but so the close to the reveal of the killer is in a basement. Now, that's all I'm going to say in this film. in Black Christmas, it's in the attic, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
There's
With
like
the
so many similarities to Black Christmas, like with this movie.
There is. I know I've mentioned this to you before, and I don't think you agreed with me, but that opening kill with the woman
Uh-huh.
and she's got her hands up reminds me a lot of Tenebrae with the lesbian. You know, when she's changing her shirt and she gets killed.
Oh, yeah,
So
I can see that. I actually
Argento,
can see that.
yeah, Argento must have seen this.
But also the Black Christmas, just from because the killer comes out of the closet, right?
Right. Yeah.
Damn near the
So
same exact way. too.
exactly the same. Yeah. So in this, you've got a killer who's pretty much getting rid of anyone, like any young girl or woman with imperfections.
Yeah.
And that's, pretty much all you need to know in regards of his motive. But yeah, just the opening scene where I just mentioned, I don't think it's where you've got the silent film being played and the fact that she's mute as well. I don't think that's an accident. That's kind of a happy accident. I think that was meant to be, actually, because there's a big, strong theme throughout the whole film with her not being able to talk.
I'll even go because when I watched it this time, I started thinking about Miss 45 or Thriller.
Exactly.
Or Thriller, A Cruel Picture, right?
Or Eyes of a Stranger as well. The slasher film from 81.
Well, I haven't seen that one, so I can't speak on that. But definitely Thriller and Miss 45. But I'll take your word for it. I'm just saying, like the trauma.
Man, there's a scene. Yeah, there's a scene in Eyes of a Stranger,
right,
towards the end that you would know straight away.
Okay.
I am going to mention another scene which I absolutely love just to set it up. So pretty much she's going home now. There's this murder just happened. Near the theater or upstairs.
Oh yeah.
She's going home, and then this fucking storm just happens out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Oh man, when she's running up to the house, and you got that fucking man in black just watching.
Yeah, that's blood and black lace hiding behind the tree. The stalker behind the tree. That's all the way blood and black lace.
Man, she drops her keys, and you got the suspense of that.
Yeah,
it is fucking superb. I mean, it's a masterclass. It's a fucking masterclass of how you should do any some kind of proto slasher, if you like. It's a must watch, I think. Definitely. Absolute must watch for anyone.
I will go on to I'm just going to finish up real quick with Siodmak right quick.
Go man.
He did some B movies for Universal. He did the third Dracula film for Universal, The Son of Dracula.
Yeah.
He did that in 1943. He did and that was off his brother's script as well. And then he did a movie called Cobra Woman in 1944. And then and that was in Technicolor. So and then The Phantom Lady, which I do want to check that out. That's a film, crime noir.
Yeah, that's a thriller as well. Yeah.
1944. He made that with Universal, the first female executive, which was Hitchcock's former script assistant, Joan Harrison. So
okay, yeah,
she was his script assistant, aka secretary. She used to work for Hitchcock, and she went on. He was still under contract for Universal. Then he worked on a loan out to RKO, where he had full control of this film. He could do whatever he wanted to do.
Right. You can see.
And, yeah, without, full control of the editing, no interference from the studio. Nobody could tell him what. So this is truly the way he wanted the film to be. No interference.
I couldn't, even if I tried to make, if I had to mention any flaws in this film, I can't find nothing at all. For me, it just completely plays like a 10.
Right.
I do want to mention as well. So, I think Dirk touched upon it earlier. Every time you see the killer, you see this eye. And there's another, I won't mention who it is, but another character gets killed when she goes down. I'll say it's a female. She goes down into the cellar. I think that's done superbly well. It kind of mirrors the first kill.
Yeah.
and just the whole kind of
When you
brooding
see
atmosphere.
that it like crossfades into the eye too. Like
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
see what the killer sees, and like whatever it is really angering him. Like he's pissed
yeah.
off. Like he don't like seeing these women with these imperfections.
Right,
Right.
yeah. A lot of them beautiful women as well. They just happen, to be lame or what have you. What I
Yeah.
like about this as well, that it's just set on one night, one fucking stormy night. That's all you need to fucking know.
Oh yeah. A
And
great
it
dark house
all,
film. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, completely.
Then
Um,
I do want to see his other film, The Dark Mirror. I've never seen.
that's one
That's
I want to see. Yeah, I
from
think Kino.
1946 as
Yeah, I
well.
think I say it on Kino too.
Okay.
Um,
He also gained the nickname like he loved his actors. They nicknamed him the actors director. He loved his actors, and the actors loved
yeah,
him.
okay.
So he had
Yeah,
a
yeah.
great
No, I can
reputation.
see that as well.
Yeah. But yeah, man. Sorry.
That's okay. No, I got a few things. So
Yeah.
the producer was David O. Selznick, and he bought the film rights as a possible property for Ingmar Bergman.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
he was tied up with another project, so he passed the rights on to RKO to be produced by I think it's Do Sherry, and then that's when they brought Siodmak on board. The screenplay is largely faithful to the basic shape of the book. Only the setting was changed from Wales to New England, and Helen was changed to be a mute for more of the like suspense aspect. So she's not really a mute either in the book.
I remember, like, I can't. So, like, we just watched these 3 films, and they mentioned Wales, the Prince of
Yeah.
Wales, or something, in one of these films.
Right. Yeah, that would be like the old kind of Prince Charles. That's where I'm from, obviously.
I think that's in Diaboliques, actually. My bad.
No,
So, I was, like,
no.
just trying to-
No, but why you the guy who plays the handyman in this,
Yeah.
he's Welsh.
Okay.
He comes pretty much from where I'm from.
Okay.
So there is that kind of link. So I'm trying to think. I think you touched upon the music, didn't you, Roy Webb, a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit.
RKO was known.
I named a couple films that he did.
Yeah, you said with Val Lewton, yeah. So he wrote all the music for Val Lewton films and RKO's film noirs.
Right. I do got a few themes that I wrote down in this film. So,
right.
I guess you'd say the fear is a big ass theme.
Yeah.
Of how trying to overcome your fear, like in the film.
Yeah.
It's a big running theme. Also, most of all the characters in the film are all hiding something. So there's secrets, big time. The theme of secrets and people hiding shit, which makes it great. Also, social inequality, and I would say that the killer's motives, I don't think this is spoiling anything. I think his motives are because of that. Because of inequality. And
very much like a fucking Giallo.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't want to say too much.
The pure nature of evil, I'll say too. People who seem normal in society, they could be your neighbor, they could be anybody, like a teacher, but a true monster within. So,
right. And there is a character in this. I think I can say this without giving too much away. So the old woman, the mother, she pretty much feels that she knows who the killer is.
Yeah.
At one point. Yeah, that's all I'll say.
Right.
And it's kind of disturbing when you actually think that, because she lets so much go. That's all I'll really say.
That's what I was saying. People got secrets and they don't want to say shit. And like,
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Even Helen has a secret. We find out why she's mute and stuff, right?
The whole backstory to that as well. I don't want to.
It's deeply layered. The characterization is fucking awesome. in this
Oh
movie.
god, yeah. But going back to Elsa Lancaster, who plays Mrs. Oates,
Yeah.
she was married to a very successful actor called Charles Lawton, but he was in fact homosexual, even though their marriage lasted. I think they lasted until she died or whatever. But I thought that
damn.
was kind of strange. I don't know whether he was a closet homosexual, but he was a homosexual, and they had a very good marriage. So, yeah, I don't know. I think that kind of interesting. She was also at one point proposed for marriage by Winston Churchill in the late 1800s.
Oh damn!
Yeah,
Churchill wanted some of the Bride of Frankenstein.
yeah. And I mean, well, no, not so much. Yeah, but you can see where she's aged from the Bride of Frankenstein's 31. This is like 15 years, but she looks a lot older, doesn't she? I think you mentioned
She
before
does,
that.
man. Oh, significantly older.
So whether Churchill, and that's weird, them two would have even met. I don't know, because Churchill being English. I don't know if Barrymore was that. I don't think she was.
A lot of these films are being made everywhere, all over the world.
Yeah. I do want to mention Blanche. She was played by Rhonda Fleming, a very beautiful actress.
Right. Wasn't she in some John Wayne? I'm sure she was. I don't know. I didn't do the background.
She
on them.
didn't do. Yeah. She may well have been, but she kind of changed her name from Marilyn Lewis at one point when she first started out.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a whole thing with her and the character Stephen, which is one of the brothers, and like Stephen's pretty much putting his kind of leading this woman on, so to speak, Blanche, just to get at his brother. Did you pick up on that to try and make him jealous? Because I don't think he had any interest in her. I'm not going to go too much into it, but yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting.
Subplots and shit, yeah. For sure.
There's lots of rivalry,
and then it shows like it's a big. There's another heavy theme of strength and vulnerability. I guess you'd say weakness. Like there's a big weakness theme with the brothers too, right?
Yeah, that's where we mentioned it's kind of almost like a Giallo kind of motive.
Yeah.
But yeah, people just honestly, if you're watching this now and you're in two minds to watch this film, hopefully we're like putting it over, because I guarantee you, if you do like slasher films, or if you even just like old suspense, old dark house movies, this is a fucking must. Don't sit on this.
And there's some scenes that are very gothic like as well.
Oh, yeah.
Old dark house type, walking around with candles and shit and wind blowing, shit like that,
I wonder if like Freaking even got that with the attic scene in The Exorcist, when she's carrying the light and it goes out, doesn't it? Yeah,
I can see that. Yeah.
So I can see Freaking being a fan of this one as well.
Yeah, I don't think too many wouldn't be. Like, this is, it's a 10 out of 10, man.
Oh, it's a 10 out of 10 all day.
Really
it's an 11 out of 10.
Yeah.
Did you realize all that was film sets as well? It wasn't just a house. It was done on a film set. So they did each room, which is fucking superb, because I had no idea, man. It looks
either.
like a real house.
And it looks convincingly like it's in a castle, or a big mansion.
Does. It really does. The working title for this was called The Silence of Helen McCord. So obviously that must be the second name of the mute Helen.
Right.
But this was adapted as a radio play in 1949. Dorothy McGuire actually reprised her role. But what you might think weird about that statement is how would she play a mute on the radio? But that is all covered because she kind of does a narration where on the radio you can actually hear her thoughts rather than, you know what I mean? So I thought
that's another thing as well, like with her being who she is, right? Like, you don't know if this is really even happening in some parts of the film. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah. So you mean like kind of
with Helen being the narrator, like, because we're following her, and we don't really know. We know there's something off about her. We don't know why, because the doctor talks to her about it, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. It's
There's a few definitely like
yeah,
a few unanswered questions, even when you get right up to the finale and that.
right.
But that's what I like about it. I think all the characters are well written as well. They all
highly
serve a
rewatchable.
purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen it. This is my third time seeing it, so I picked up on a few more things this go around. But let me catch the chat right quick, man.
Yeah.
Let's see. Acres of Movies says, who should direct that, Fincher or someone else?
It's been so long ago. She's talking about a remake, maybe? Remake.
Yeah. You know, it sucks because they used to put. No, they still do it. Okay. Yeah. Damn, that was.
I think she might have been
on 30 minutes ago.
She might have been on about the remake of M, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. I love Spiral Staircase, a top 85 movie or so. Hell yeah.
Man, it's top 20, I said, like all day long for me.
Then she says, Stacy says, maybe top 60 or higher. Thanks, chaps.
Yeah. No, I can see that. See that. Definitely.
Christy says, Blood and Black Lace is my number one Giallo. Film's a 9.5 out of 10. Film's a masterpiece, and to me, Baba's best.
I know Chris doesn't like that. Chris doesn't like to give a 10, or he finds it hard to give a 10.
Right.
But I can't argue with that. Blood and Black Lace is pretty much a 10. Yeah.
It's a 10 for me all day.
It is. Yeah.
I have the double set that Criterion just released that has I Walked with a Zombie. Awesome.
Okay. Yeah.
Acres, Stacy says, has this one played in a revival cinema near you? No, it hasn't.
I don't even think that it's ever played. I presume it's never played in the UK, but I might be wrong.
Right.
Yeah, I'd love to see this on the big screen, man.
Chris is asking if we've seen Straw Dogs. Yeah, I've seen both the old one and was it Peckinpah? Sam Peckinpah?
Yeah, Sam Peckinpah, yeah. 71.
Great. And I've seen the remake, which is not as good, but it's not bad. It's not horrible.
I mean, Susan George, fucking Dustin Hoffman, fucking superb.
Right. I know a lot of people don't like Straw Dogs because of Dustin Hoffman's character is so wimpy or whatever, but I think that's the point of the film.
Exactly what I was going to say. That's why he does, he turns into whatever he turns into at the end.
Right.
Some of that, like some of those scenes with Susan George is kind of disturbing as well, where let's just say, a certain act happens and she kind of gets a little bit into it too much. But yeah.
Right. Chris says House by the Cemetery, the basement in that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Never creepy, yeah.
Mike's DVD and Blu-ray collection. What's up? What's happening?
Hey, man? What's up, man?
Good to have you here. Appreciate everybody, man.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I just wanted to catch a chat up, man.
No,
I appreciate everybody being here, man. And if y'all think about it, do the thing.
Sicilian thing that's been going on for 2,000 years.
Yeah. Maybe some of that. I don't know.
In terms of like
two people just left.
Oh shit. Yeah. Violence against women.
That'll be all right.
But in terms of like there was 2 remakes to this. One was with Christopher Plummer and Jacqueline Bisset in 1975. I did try and watch the first 20 minutes and it's fucking terrible.
I wouldn't even attempt to watch a remake.
I mean, no, the actual, you've got the rainstorm at the start and all that is the same, but it just doesn't work, man. They actually did a TV remake as well in 2000, which I've heard is not that bad, but I've not seen it. So, but man, like 10 all day long.
It's 10 out of 10, man. No doubt about it.
This one I like so much that it'll probably end up being buried with me, so I can rewatch it when I'm dead. But
yeah, I dig it,
love
man.
it, man.
And I love it. I hate that I don't even have one like a physical copy of it at all. But hopefully, a 4K will be coming for that, man.
Oh man, I'm touching wood as we speak, so I'm sure Arrow are going to come out with that at some point.
Right. Well, man, I guess we're gonna get into Diabolique or Diabolique or
And
Les
again, this is
Diabolique.
so this is a first time watch for me. I know Dirk's seen it before.
This is
Man,
this
this
is
is
my third
fucking
time.
great.
This is my
Third time.
Yeah.
Did you pick up on more then as watching it second and third time? Did you pick on little bits more here and there? Like
I did. There's something I'm not. We'll get into it. We'll get into it.
I just want to start off this by saying this
Okay.
film is fucking superb as well. I was completely shocked how good this film is. But
right.
I'll let you take it away if you want with
Okay. This is probably the briefest synopsis I got of the film, but so two women, a wealthy wife and her husband's mistress, team up to plan the perfect murder of this abusive bastard. The plan goes horribly wrong, and the husband's spirit, or maybe the guilt, begins to haunt them both, driving them to the edge of madness and paranoia.
Yeah, man. How good is this fucking storyline?
Yeah. That's just a setup, so
yeah. I mean, this doesn't have that many main actors in it, but the ones who the
less
main
is definitely
three.
more.
Oh yeah.
Less is more with this film. So I can kind of talk about Henri Clouzot. I think that's how you say his name. I hate butchering people's names. I wouldn't want people to call me funny names, but they do anyway.
I've heard it pronounced Clouzot. I've heard it pronounced a few ways.
Clouzot or whatever.
Clouzot, yeah.
But he's known as the French Hitchcock. And this film in particular, he beat Alfred Hitchcock to the rights. So he bought the rights from the novel, and he beat Hitchcock to the punch and made this film. And but so he's mostly known for his thriller films as well. He's not known for big flashy Technicolor type of films. It's mostly like thriller, I would say film noir as well. The Wages of Fear is a big one. Came out in 1953, and he won at the Cannes Film Festival. He won for that film. He was fired from the UFA studio in Nazi Germany for being friends with Jewish producers.
There you go again. I think every film has got some kind of Nazi connection.
Yeah, so he was fired from the Nazis, I guess, because of that reason.
Yeah.
But the thing about him is, he would work for whoever. It didn't matter. He didn't have any kind of political affiliation. He didn't give a shit. He self-described, he only cared about his own films. That's all he cared about was his own cinema.
Just
he was so dedicated to his work. He didn't give a fuck about politics. I love that shit. But so he went back to France and he was bedridden from tuberculosis for 5 years, I think 3 or 5 years.
Five.
He couldn't do shit, and he's still surrounded by the Nazis. And then he was banned from France for his second film, Le Corbeau, I think, for its view on continental France.
Right.
And then they lifted the ban in 1947 or whatever. And then he married actress Vera Gibson Amato, and she's the lead actress in this film. She's playing the role of, what's her name?
Vera.
Vera.
No, it is. Her name is Vera, but she's playing Christina.
Christina. Yeah.
Desolé.
Yeah, I couldn't remember because I know it's Christina and Nicole are the two lead actresses.
Yeah.
But something odd about her is the character in the film has a heart condition, and oddly enough, 5 years after this film, she dies of a heart attack.
Man, I was freaked out when I read that
So
first.
that's Fritz Lang, and then this guy's wife, Clouzot's wife, both oddly die. Like it's
She
weird
was
shit.
like during
Yeah.
filming of this as well. She was like taken ill a couple of times with a heart condition.
Right.
I don't know. Obviously, he just because of that he put it into the screenplay or what have you. But it's kind of eerie the way it all works out. I'll just say that.
There's a scene. There's a scene in here though. That Hitchcock definitely. It's kind of crazy, right? So there's a bathroom scene in this movie, and I think it's in like one of the most. What is it in the top 100 horror moments of all time or whatever?
I've seen it in a few of them. Yeah.
Some shit like that. And anyway, this came out 5 years before Psycho. So it's almost like Psycho had to do his shower scene to up this bathroom scene. Or so, it just seems that way.
Man, Hitchcock, right? So in that murder scene you say, right, in Psycho, there's a scene, the scene in this one, is it the girl or woman, I'm not going to give away who it is, fucking pulls down on the shower curtain as she dies, exactly the same.
Yeah.
Clouzot actually said at the end of this film, he put a message on the end saying no one's to like mention the ending.
Don't ruin
it. Hitchcock pinched that for Psycho.
Yep.
So Hitchcock was fucking in awe of this director. And I mean, I don't say that lightly as well. He was in awe of this director.
Yeah. And so many were. And this movie got mega praise worldwide, like in Europe, in fucking America, everywhere. Everybody loved this movie. And they said that even people, like just regular people, were going to see this in the theater. And
I can see it, man.
And they had to see it. They had to read it, right? you know, and they still did it anyway. But that's how much. And this one pushes the line on some things. So in France,
at the time,
in France, there's the censorship laws weren't as bad, because you see the main actress, you can see her nips and everything, right?
Yeah, I was surprised by that.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit! And then, I mean, there's just certain things that happen in the film too. That like there's a lesbian angle that you could say as well.
That was taken from the book, I think,
from the novel.
As well. Yeah. Right. So, but I mean, starting off just with the cast, I know you did mention Viva Clouzot. I will. Simone Signoret, who plays Nicole Horner. She was born in 1921 in Wiesbaden, Germany. She grew up in Paris. She won the Academy Award for Best Actress in Room at the Top in 1959. She won 3 BAFTAs for Best Foreign Actress. She was in The Crucible, Ship of Fools, Madame Rosa.
You heard the story. You heard the story on her though, right? Like her and her husband were friends with the Clouzots.
Yeah, go on.
And then during this movie, it was like, because Clouzot was a fucking crazy motherfucker. Like there's a part where 2 people are moving a body in a wicker basket, right?
Yeah.
There's a real man that was in the wicker basket, and they were actually having to move. Did you know that shit?
Yeah. I mean,
for hours, this guy had to stay in that fucking basket while they moved him around and shit.
Do you know what that reminds me of? Reminds me of? Stanley Kubrick.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a typewriter scene later on, which is fucking straight out The Shining. That's all I'll say about that one.
It definitely is. It's
but no, she's a very blonde, stunning actress. I will just mention the one guy, Paul Melrise. He plays Michel Desailles. He's this fucking really just horrible bastard, man. He's mean to all the kids.
Oh man,
he's
sexually
penny
abusive.
pinching. Yeah. There's a scene in there where it's implied.
There's
kind of like a rape scene that's maybe implied.
No, it's a rape. It's an off-the-screen rape.
Yeah.
And he's abusive to both women. That's what's so odd is you got his wife and then he's got his mistress, and he blatantly don't give a fuck. Like,
no, he's a fucking douchebag, man, to everyone.
He lets them both know that what he's doing. Like,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
and then there's another scene where he's like coming on to a chick in front of her mother, like on a
Yeah, on the
train.
train, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
He's a
there's
real
no real
bastard. Yeah.
yeah, there's no real mystery to the start of this film. There is later on, but the start of this film, they kind of hate this man so much that they kind of get together and plan his murder. I mean, I
Yeah.
think we can pretty much say that anyway, because that's the first kind of 10, 15 minutes.
Right.
But the guy who does play Michelle, so he started acting, he started singing actually before he became an actor, and he was kind of encouraged by the Edith Piaf to go into acting. So he started on stage, he transitioned to film, he did over 60 films. But did you realize he had a major issue with Vera Clouzot? He said she was a terrible fucking actress.
That's what they were saying. And I was just
Yeah.
like, what the fuck, dude? No.
Is he seeing something different to what I am? Because she's
I'm
fucking
kinda-
outstanding. She's
Maybe,
outstanding.
you know what I think it was, to be honest?
He thinks it's nepotism, probably, because of his
No,
wife.
I think it's probably because she was from Brazil.
Maybe.
Because
Yeah.
I didn't mention that she's from Brazil, and I think that might have been something to do with it. You know what I mean?
And she'd only ever done 3 films, and this was one of them. So
I think
she
she's
did
great.
do-
Yeah.
She's superb. I think all 3 of them is why this works so well.
But the way it's described too is like she's being bullied, like in real life, by the other people around her.
Right? Yeah.
So and she's getting bullied in the film, pretty much too. Like she's the
Pretty
only
much.
her character is the only one that's nice to the children, right?
She is. Yeah.
So
Yeah. There's
there's definitely, I would say, this story of this film definitely has inspired Ernesto Gastaldi big
without
time.
a shadow of a doubt. Yeah.
And I would
Oh,
say
God, yeah.
I would say Roman Polanski, I would say Brian De Palma, I would say Albert Hitchcock, Umberto Lenzi, Sergio Martino,
Argento,
many
you
more.
go on. Yeah.
many more. Especially Umberto Lenzi, though, I would say. Like,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So
There's
but I
unmistakable way. If you know, you know.
right. But yeah, man, go ahead. I don't want to take all the. I get it. I'm excited about these. This is
I
is
love
pretty
this
rare
stuff.
that we do a stream for me that all 3 of the films are fucking 10 out of 10.
Oh God, really? So I
For me.
didn't realize you were going to say that.
Yeah, this is a 10
I
out of
can't
10.
argue with you. This
Yeah.
to me is like I had it at like an 8.5, and I've sat on it, and it's at least a 9, maybe
I
higher.
think it's going to go up for you though, because this is my
I've only
third
seen
time.
it. Yeah, I've only seen it once, so I mean
Yeah.
it's gonna go to a 10, because the more, even just talking about it before we started to do the stream tonight, like
Right.
yeah, it's unmistakably a classic. The whole kind of the setting in the boarding school as well, and you've got all these young kids and doing what young kids do,
Yeah, that's
all that
fucked
is
up.
great.
I got to mention that scene too. So there's a scene where they're in the cafeteria, and everybody's
Yeah,
got to eat.
yeah.
He's forcing everybody to eat this rotten fish,
Right.
right? Well,
'Cause
guess
he's
what?
such a mean son of a bitch. Yeah.
But guess what's really going on? Clouzot made everybody eat rotten fish.
Yeah. That's what reminds me of Kubrick,
Fucking
man.
crazy, man. Like, what the
Yeah.
fuck?
And that Michelle character, so
Yeah.
pretty much he's got, I don't think it's giving too much away to say one scene. I'll just say one scene. He's pretty much got to be in one place throughout a couple of days filming.
Yeah.
And it was kind of hard on him to do that. But like what he was doing, what Clouzot was actually giving him whiskey to like warm him up a little bit in between takes.
Yep.
So he wasn't a complete fucking madman. He was.
Yeah, I almost fucked up. I had to catch myself there for a second.
I didn't want to say that scene.
Right.
I don't want to say too much.
I would say some of the running themes in here, though, is like power of the mind. Like the film tricks us to, can we really trust our own senses in the film? Like, you know what I mean? Like, because you're kind of like following through Christina's point of POV through most of the film. And,
I don't think I've ever seen a director, and we've seen a lot in Giallo films, but kind of pulls it off. Because even though I said I watched it once, I kind of watched it twice because I went back with some of the commentary.
Yeah.
But if you go back and watch it a second time, it fucking, even that twist just plays fucking flawlessly.
It's perfect.
You will never know. Like,
it's perfect.
That's all I'll say for that. But
yeah,
I
mean, and
perfect.
this, you got to think, this is the first time this twist had ever been done as well.
Yeah. You can't, there's no holes in the plot at all. It's a perfect film in that regard. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I got down here. It was a game changer. It focused more on characterization and the psychological aspect. So it's definitely that. Like,
oh God, yeah, absolutely.
I got to say something. This is not a spoiler. So at the end of the film, if anybody is watching this stream in the present or in the future, like when you watch the end of the film, pay very close attention to the little boy at the end, what he says.
Yeah.
Pay attention to what he's saying, because it kind of leaves
it leaves it all fucking open again, doesn't it?
On top
of what happens.
Question mark. So you're like, what the fuck? Like, holy shit! But
yeah, and you've got to actually pay it. Like you say, it's quite easily to just let that boy speak, and you don't really think about it. And but once you realize what he says, it's very.
And what happens earlier in the film is all I'm going to say.
Yeah, it's very clever. The writing in this is just fucking flawless, absolutely flawless. But this was based on the novel "She Who Was No More." I don't know if you mentioned that earlier, Dirk. Did you?
She Who Was No More in 1952, written by dual writers. Pierre Boulou and Pierre Arard. I'm probably butchering the shit.
I can't say it anyway.
Boileau Narcisse or some shit. I don't know. But anyway, they had a duo pen name, and I'll try my best to say it. It was Boileau Narcisse. I think that's how you say it. I'm not sure.
Nasayak. I don't know. Yeah.
But the cinematographer, there was only one. He's done over 120 films. Armand Thurard. And the only film I really recognized, and I've never seen it, had Bridget Bardot in it, and Guy Created Woman, 1956.
That's a Hammer film, yeah.
Right. Okay.
In regards to the two writers, so Hitchcock, like we mentioned earlier, was going after the book for this. But what happened with those two writers is Hitchcock got in contact with them and asked them to write something for him. And then what came of that was Vertigo. So,
that's right. Yeah.
And it worked out. It worked out on all.
Yep. Vertigo came right after this.
Yeah.
I also want to say a quote at the very beginning of the film. So the name Diabolique, where it came from, was a collection of short stories about women who commit crimes. And it was written in 1874. And I think this was a head nod from Clouzot, giving an homage to that guy for the name, for the title.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the quote was, "A painting is always quite moral when it is tragic and presents the horror of the things that it depicts." And I think you say this guy, the guy that did those, Barbet de Varly.
Okay.
So it's another French name. I think that's how you say it. But,
yeah.
If there's any French people watching this, don't hold it against me. I'm doing my best over here. So
I do want to mention the music or lack of music, because it opens up and ends with kind of music, but in between it's almost like a fucking just completely devoid. It's devoid of any music.
You're in the film. You're in the film.
But how many directors can
creak? Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, how many directors could pull that off? Where you've literally got no fucking sound, because famously they went back and played John Carpenter's Halloween without music, and it didn't work. This fucking works. And there's a scene as well with one character going around the fucking boarding school at night towards the end of the film, which is fucking just played all in shadow. It's like the cinematography is fucking off the wall for this.
The black and white cinematography is
man.
amazing. The
Yeah.
lighting, the shadows, when like doors creak open, you see like a hand or you see a foot, and it's just, I don't know, man. It's all mood, atmosphere, great performances all around.
It's one of these films I can't believe I've never seen it before.
Yeah.
And I've only recently bought this edition as well, the Criterion.
Yeah. And that's the only one I had.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, I'm going to say this right now for anybody that's watching. So, Johnny, if you're watching, the first time I watched this movie, I didn't like it.
Oh, shit. Really?
Yeah. Yeah. And then I got to thinking about it. I got to thinking about the film later.
It stays with you, doesn't it? It fucking
stays
with you.
I bought it right after I processed it and shit. And I was like, maybe I was just in a weird mood or something, but I had to get it. And I'm glad
you've got to. No, you're right though. You've got to be in the kind of mindset for this.
Yeah.
You really need to like pay attention and all that. You can't just put it on as a background film or anything.
No way. I would say the same thing about M as well. You got to,
yeah, you could say the same about all three. All three of these films, I highly recommend people watching this stream now. If you've not heard of them or get all three. I mean, they are, every single one of them in their own little way is superb. I don't say that lightly either, but man, this has been one of the good weeks,
This is like I said, all three of these are a 10 out of 10 for me, and that's rare that happens.
I don't think that's ever happened before for you.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Not even when we've done like Argento and stuff.
I know it's odd to a lot of people. Like I talk to my wife about it a lot. She won't watch anything like this old, but when I describe to her the stories, she's like, "Oh, that sounds interesting." And I'm like, "Well,
it doesn't
check it out."
feel like it. I don't know about you, but it doesn't feel like a 1955 film.
Well,
it could
Clouzot
quite easily.
Yeah. It definitely don't. It does feel
I was going
to
say the storyline could be done today and was definitely done in the 70s with some of the Giallo films.
And there's a ton of Gialli that took this same.
Oh God! If you mention a couple, people would know the twist straight away.
Right.
But there's a big thing with this as well with water. So you've got water is like a place of decay and death, and you've got there's a scene with a swimming pool that I won't say too much, a bathtub. So you've got that theme of water, which kind of reminds me a little bit of Don't Look Now in some ways.
The theme of water also like kind of is like a running theme of life and death.
Yeah, absolutely. And when he did, so he had, like Dirk's mentioned earlier, he had tuberculosis for 5 years. And what he actually did when he was in hospital is he read thousands of novels. He wrote 2 screenplays. And he was kind of done all his homework, and he actually says the success of his career is due to him having tuberculosis for 5 years. Right. Otherwise, he would not have been so highly read up and everything.
So he learned a lot about the way humans work.
Yeah. I mean, that's again, unfortunate for him at the time, but it worked. Yeah.
I can relate. I don't think I've ever mentioned this on stream before. But I can relate. I was put down for like a year where I had stage 4 cancer, and I had to I really appreciated life a lot more, and I started reading about things. But I can relate with that is all I was getting at. But
absolutely, man. And I can't really relate to that in terms of what you went through. But it does. It puts you in a certain place in life where, you've just, like for him, it wasn't as bad as that, but it kind of got to a point where being bedridden for 5 years.
You can't do nothing for 5 years. That sucks,
I mean, what you went through was a lot worse, stage 4, but that, thankfully that worked out, but this film is just fucking incredible. You've even got the one character who comes in towards the end of, so you've got Charles Vanel, he plays Alfred Fitchett. He's like an investigator, like a private investigator. Did you realize all that stuff in the morgue was done in a real morgue as well at one point?
Oh, really? Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I heard.
And you can tell that does look authentic.
And it looks really good. It don't look of the time. Like some of these shots are,
No, absolutely.
He was very meticulous too. Like we talked about how he was like he would make the actors do like 20 to 40 takes.
Yeah, he storyboarded every single scene.
Right.
He was definitely like Kubrick in that regards. The similarities to like Psycho as well, which we mentioned earlier. It's like this guy was fucking Hitchcock was taking note of this guy. Seriously, guys, like that is what I believe completely. You know, you can't get away from the fact that he was. And he was taking notes and he was doing, you know, try to better. I don't know, you know, obviously Psycho I would regard in the same, maybe a better film I would regard Psycho, not much. But apart from that, this film would stand alone against any of Hitchcock's other films, I think. From what I've seen, you know, I've seen quite a few.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty damn original, though. You got to admit, like that.
Oh, man, yeah.
That twist is like, holy shit. That's all I got to say.
So, I do want to say, right, when this was brought out in, so it was brought out theatrically in France and the US. So, what happened when one screening in the US, a woman was taken like ill because she couldn't fucking go through with it. She fainted during halfway of the film.
Yeah.
She was took out to the foyer or whatever. She was revived, come back to life. And she was eager. She just ran back in because she wanted to see how this film was going to end.
Yeah, she wanted to see the climax.
Great. Yeah, I thought that was a great story, man.
Let me catch the chat right fast.
Yeah.
Let's see. Chrissy says, Psycho is a top 10 film for me. Need to see Diabolic. I have the criterion. Highly recommend.
Don't sit on it. Don't sit on it, man.
Definitely. Akers says, sorry I had to be away for over 20 minutes. No problem. Appreciate it.
That's okay. Stacey. Yeah. We probably got carried away with our reviews anyway.
Right. Stacy says, should there be more remakes of Giallo and early Proto Giallo?
I mean,
it depends on the filmmaker, I would say. You know?
I would love to see some of these
remakes. I would love to see Ty West do one. I think he could do it. Like, but he has to have the right writer. Like, because Maxine was looking cool. Right?
Yeah.
But if he would have had a better twist plot at the end, it would have been so much better, man. If it had more of that Giallo, you know, love that the trailer had, holy shit, you know.
I want to know what happened to the Nicholas Winding Refn fucking remake of What Have You Done to Solange, because that was in the works for a long time.
Now, I could see him doing some shit too, because Neon Demon.
He would be the word. He would be
Neon
the one,
Demon's pretty good.
Yeah,
I would say Ty West too. I would think.
Yeah,
I think maybe Eggers, but he won't do nothing but period film. So
yeah, but you could have a period piece Giallo, I suppose. You know, look at like the Evelyn Come Out of the Grave, the night Evelyn Come Out of the Grave,
or Beatrice Cinci, something like not exactly. I know Beatrice Cinci's not a Giallo, but you know what I mean, right?
I mean, Red Queen kills 7 times,
right? Yeah, something like that. Let's see. Stacy says Kathy Bates shines in the remake. Sharon Stone does not. Hard to believe her as a teacher at that school.
Right. So we didn't mention the remake. Yeah,
I haven't seen it. Yeah, I've seen that Sharon Stone's in it, and also Isabella Adjani is in it.
That's right. Yeah, I've heard it's pretty decent. It's not.
I've heard it sucks. So I don't know.
Oh, okay. I thought I heard it was pretty decent.
I heard it was bad. So
I'm not sure if it plays the film like almost completely the same. I'd have to go and watch it.
It'd be interesting to see Isabella Adjani and Sharon Stone though.
It's cheap enough on Amazon. I was looking it up, so I'm definitely going to be getting that at some point. Yeah.
Okay. The original is a classic. Oh yeah, absolutely. I'd like another remake with Hilary Swank in the Kathy Bates role of Diaboliques.
That would be interesting. Yeah, I can see that.
Great deep dive, gents. Appreciate you, Chris.
Cheers, man.
I'd have preferred De Palma for that remake. Yeah, maybe.
Oh
maybe
shit!
So.
Can you imagine De Palma? Yeah,
De Palma would be good. Yeah.
Oh man.
The director made Christmas Vacation.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Way above his capability. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, this has been a great one, man. I really got into this one, man. Like, so I started doing like a ton of research, and hopefully hopefully I didn't bore nobody with all the information.
No, man, you come out with some shit that fucking even I didn't know, because we got like this thing we do now where we both concentrate on different, like I concentrate on actors and Dirk with the makers. I just want to say that this film did go on to make over $1 million in the US.
Yeah.
And it was rare for like a foreign film. And this was on the fringe of the mainstream as well to become so successful. Just goes to show you how good this fucking film is. But yeah, I mean, all three of these are fucking superb in different ways, Definitely. It's good when you get like a labor of love in it, like when you do your films.
It is. No, Stacy says the original is a 10 out of 10. Awesome movie. Definitely. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, I'll be going up to a 10 in time with this one. It's a 9 at the moment, but I think another watch and I'll be there. I'll be there for a 10, man.
I appreciate it, Tex. He's saying this was a great stream, just like they all are. I appreciate it. Oh,
cheers, man.
Yeah.
Cheers. Yeah.
I did want to show everybody something that I got in, and I usually don't do this, but I mean, I didn't get a lot in, so I'm just going to show it real quick.
No, show it, man, because this is interesting.
Terrors on a Razor's Edge. So it's just a bunch of Giallo artwork. There's like 100 different. I think it's it's got a bunch of different
it's like alternative. Yeah. Show a couple of the
Spanish.
Show a couple of the posters, dude.
Got some creamy stuff in there too.
Oh man.
It's pretty cool. Let's see. I think that's the. Let's see. I'm trying to find something. Yeah, like Libido from Ernesto Gastaldi, shit like that. But that's
great.
Obsession, ain't it?
The one next to it is The Possessed, I think.
Possessed. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, it's got all kinds of shit in here, man. I love this artwork though. Check this one out. That's fucking killer. I love that shit.
Man. Yeah.
With the skull, that's killer shit. Edgar Wallace.
What's the Cobra one? Is that the human cobras?
It says Giallo Cobra. I don't know. It's Edgar Wallace
that
too.
One is. Yeah. That must be a creamy.
Yeah,
it must be a creamy. Yeah.
But it's got all kind of shit in here, man. It's just kick ass. I dig these kind of things. You can get this on they got a bunch of these though. You can get this on Amazon. Also
like 20, I want to say, is it something like that?
This one was 26, I think. But I think it's worth.
Yeah.
And then I got this in Murder Obsession. I held out.
Oh yes.
I got this shit for the low. I don't know if it's still on Amazon for this, but it was like $14.
That is a kick-ass edition as well. Radiance.
That's Ricardo Fredo's last film, I believe. So.
Yeah. And probably one of the last films of Anita Steinberg as well, if not her last. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Chris says, I almost got that book, Dirk. Nice. Hell yeah, man. I'm gonna get some more.
Yeah.
I'm digging them, man. I just like flipping through that shit, looking at the great artwork. But let's see. Stacy says Clouzot, the director of Diaboliques. Diaboliques made one called The Spies. That one was great and a major influence on Scorsese movie Shutter Island. Oh wow. Okay.
Oh shit! I've only just recently got Shutter Island in as well. I've never seen it, so
okay.
Man, all these directors, I do want to say that as well. I'm gonna go back and try and pick out a lot of their films. You're
saying The Spies was great, awesome.
Okay, yeah. Thanks for the recommendation.
Murder Obsession, great film. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of grown on me. I got to be honest.
I didn't love that fucking. Didn't you like Spider's Web?
Yeah, I dig it now, but I didn't at first. I remember when we first did it on that old show. I can't even remember the name of it, but whatever.
I was surprised because you did like with the gothic aspect as well, because I know you're into all the gothic stuff.
I dig it now, man.
It's cheesy, but it's a great.
I think that's Ricardo Fredo's last film and Anita Steinberg's last film.
It is, yeah. Because he had big plans or something to do something in America afterwards, and they never come about because he
Right.
couldn't get money. Afraid he couldn't get the money to do it.
Yeah.
I just think it's an underrated, little. It's not gonna be, a fucking 10 or anything, but it's good for what it is.
Right. Well, man, I appreciate everybody coming, joining, staying, hitting the likes, subscribing if you like this stuff, what we're doing, what we're covering.
Thanks for all the comments, man. You've been you've outdone yourselves again.
Yeah, y'all, the chat's been kicking like Bruce Lee in his prime. So, what do we got next week? Do you know?
I think we got the Video Nasties.
Oh yeah, we're gonna be covering some slashers of the nasties.
Yeah, and that'll be in connection with Dead Pit as well, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, that'll be on the Eurocrypt.
So that's Haste on Straw Hill, is it? Bloody Moon and Island of Death, I think it is.
Yep, the Greek slasher, Island of Death.
Yeah.
Well, slasher, aka exploitation, pretty.
Well, that
a twisted ass movie.
Haste on Straw Hill I can see people might not say they're slashers, which is fair enough, but
yeah, I think it is. So that's
it's subjective, isn't it?
Right, it's all subjective, right?
Yeah.
So I appreciate y'all's hours that y'all killed here with us. And
yeah, man, I can't thank people enough for watching, man. They made this, like a joy to do at times.
Synthetic in here. He says, hey guys,
up,
listening
man?
While walking around San Francisco eating pizza. Awesome.
Nice.
Great show, gentlemen. Appreciate you, James.
Cheers,
as always,
man. Thanks.
Bloody Moon is great. One of Franco's best. Yeah.
If not his best, yeah.
Yeah, I can't say that. But I think Justine is. But, that's just my opinion. But anyway, but we're going to get out of here, man. I appreciate everybody. And y'all have a good one.
Definitely. Have a good one, guys.
This!
Hey, what do you think you're doing?
This will crush your memory!
I got enough.
We'll see about that.